Hello, and welcome to Anime Recap Guy's latest recap. Last time, Kotoko left us and Masayuki hanging by a thread. Yeah, quite literally. She just disappeared after saying she knows who killed Masayuki's ex-wife, Miharu. Now that we have her here again, let's try and get more of her story. Ready? Let's begin. To Masayuki's immense relief, Kotoko announces that even without her help, he wouldn't have much trouble regarding this entire matter, since the police will not waste their time investigating him anymore. When he asks her why the suspicions surrounding him have suddenly vanished, she replies that when Miharu was found, her clothes weren't disheveled and neither was anything stolen from her. Additionally, the police did not find signs of forced entry at her apartment either. Kotoko continues that since Miharu was either dragged to the murder location or maybe even invited there, it is quite possible that she would have had the time to negotiate with her killer. Kotoko reckons that if Masayuki was indeed the killer, Miharu would attempt to save herself by telling him about the incriminating letter she had hidden at home. Knowing about the existence of the letter would ensure that Masayuki spared Miharu's life. Agreeing with Kotoko's thoughts, Masayuki adds that in this scenario, even if he decided to kill Miharu, he would still be consumed with worry for the letter she mentioned and would attempt to destroy it by searching for it at her place. Kotoko then points out that he would be caught in the security cameras around her house. If he had been there, Masayuki would also have tried to either hide her body so she wouldn't be found immediately, or even tried to maim her body to destroy her nails and teeth so she wouldn't be identified. Kotoko further reasons that if Masayuki had gone through such lengths to hide his crime, then he also would have expected a police investigation and would have prepared an alibi well in advance. Considering he wasn't able to provide an alibi and couldn't really explain being seen with a woman that looked like Miharu, proved that Masayuki was unprepared. Kotoko says that this has been thought over by the police as well, and hence they are already looking for someone else who would have had a motive to kill Miharu. She also dispels Yuki Ona's fear that her presence in Masayuki's life is creating problems for him by assuring her that she is the reason Masayuki even has an alibi in the first place. As far as the name written on Miharu's hand, Kotoko reckons that the killer has to be someone who intended to frame Masayuki for the murder. Lost in thought, Masayuki counters that since his divorce and its reason isn't common knowledge, as he did not want to talk about it to anyone, how could anyone have known to frame him? Kotoko reasons that infidelity forms enough justification to be a motive for murder for some. She says it could easily have been his friend if he hadn't died, or even his former employees who expected him to exact revenge for their betrayal. When Kotoko asks if he thinks he knows someone who would be capable to carry out this crime and slide the blame onto him, Masayuki realizes that there could just be one such person. He asks Kotoko if the killer is Aizuka Nagasa. And just when she confirms his fears and replies in the affirmative, Masayuki gets a call from the killer herself. Whoa! Leaving the call unanswered, Masayuki tells Yuki Onna and Kotoko that Aizuka was the only colleague who kept in touch with him after he was thrown out of his company. He admits that he didn't think of her as someone who would hold a grudge against him, but recalls that he had received a call from her on the day of Miharu's murder. He had answered that call while he asked Yuki Onna to continue eating without him. Since he was with Yuki Onna, he had lied to Aizuka about drinking at home on his own. So she called to make sure he would not have an alibi. Oh, clever woman, I must say, at least to an extent. Puzzled about why Aizuka would have a grudge against him, Masayuki reveals that she has been calling him quite a lot recently, asking whether there was anything she could do to help. Kotoko tells Masayuki that while she doesn't have the answer to all his questions, she knows that the police are investigating who could be framing him, and hence it would be wise to wait for her to get arrested before doing anything else. Yuki Onna senses Masayuki's pain and urges him to remain strong since he has done absolutely nothing wrong. Aw, she's a total goner for him, isn't she? Sweet. Masayuki appreciates Kotoko's decision of having fed him a false scenario initially, despite knowing the truth, as Aizuka's betrayal would have made him lose trust in people all over again. Well, she isn't the god of wisdom for nothing. When Masayuki asks whether it is her wisdom that lets her predict the police investigation, Kotoko admits that she gets all her information from the ghosts around the police. She also says that there were plenty of ghost witnesses to the murder itself, and hence she knew that Masayuki wasn't at fault right from the beginning. Oh, just imagine if detectives and the police could have access to ghost intel. Things would be much easier and faster. Well, creepier too, I guess. Wishing Yuki Onna and Masayuki happiness together, Kotoko is about to take their leave when they hear the sound of a falling bottle. Unsurprised to see him there, Kotoko asks Kuro what he was doing. At the sight of Kuro, Yuki Onna turns away from him and hugs Masayuki in fear. Introducing her boyfriend to Masayuki, Kotoko explains that Kuro must look like a monster to the eyes of Yuki Onna, which she confirms by not even being able to construct the words to describe her fright. Despite her crippling fear, Yuki Onna finds it in herself to thank her god of wisdom for all the help and proceeds to pick Masayuki up to fly them both back home. Looks like this case is done, unless we are to meet Aizuka, the killer. Waiting for a yokai to take them home, Kotoko clarifies that she ensured Kuro stayed hidden because she had anticipated Yuki Onno's reaction to him. She reckons that Yuki Onna might not have had the courage to defend Masayuki in Kuro's presence. Well, thoughtful of her, wasn't it? Mounting the yokai, they discuss the case further as Kotoko completes her report. Curious about Aizuka's motive, Kuro asks Kotoko her opinion. Kotoko informs him that while Aizuka respects Masayuki, she actually loves him as well. Her love made her believe that Miharu's infidelity was unfair to Masayuki and hence took matters into her own hands. And about why she framed him if she loved him, Kotoko says that Aizuka possibly didn't expect the police to grow so suspicious of Masayuki in the first place, and instead just intended to be Masayuki's moral support through difficult times in the hope that he would fall for her. The mind of a woman? I tell ya. Kuro notes that Masayuki has been having bad luck when it comes to the women in his life, considering his mountain accident also happened over a woman, then his own wife tried to poison him, and now this Aizuka incident. Kotoko counters by saying that maybe his destiny has only wicked women fall for him, including the yokai Yuki Onna, who could freeze him in a moment if things ever went south for them. Wicked woman or not, Masayuki will definitely want to be with her as long as possible. This brings us to another wait for the next adventure. Be back soon. Bye.